It's Freakin Friday, Spiro. Welcome back to New York Revival. I am El Jefe. That's Mr. Glass Half Full. I call him Big Dog, Spiro, Spee if you nasty.
Hell yeah.
Our fearless leader, Eli, is working today. This is typically a Jefe and Spiro segment, but we want to check in with you guys because this is usually just about when we mentally check out and we start thinking about the weekend.
You're
Do you
right.
not have a beverage?
You know what? I'll be right back.
Go ahead. Go ahead. So if you are with us, feel free to chime in the chat. We can share the link if anybody wants to step up and talk. But today we're going to talk about if you're a fantasy footballer, this has been an unprecedented end to a fantasy football season. It's been very, very tough for commissioners, for people in the finals, stuff like that. So we're going to touch on that. Obviously going to look ahead at this Giants game. But
Kind of big.
Foremost,
but not kind of big. We don't know how to feel. Hey, cheers.
Cheers, brother. Happy Friday. We made it.
Yeah, happy Friday, man. We made it.
We did. We survived another week.
So even to talk on your fantasy topic here, even if you're not in the championship or even in the playoffs anymore, you're getting dragged into these conversations regardless, because people don't know what to do right now, and there's money on the line for some people, maybe not for others, but there's something on the line here, and half the people don't care. The other people want to give their 2 cents. So chat if you're out here, if you're in a fantasy league.
Sarge?
What's up, Sarge? What's going on?
Precious,
what's going on? We appreciate y'all. We want to hear from everybody, man. We want to hear what's going on in your league. Because, I, for one, wouldn't hate a new idea because we're still trying to settle out our league. You're trying to, Jeff, you're in the middle of one right now. You're in the middle of a championship right now trying to figure out what to do.
I'm in, like two almost identical leagues through Yahoo. And I'm in the final in one of them. I was projected to win. We both had players going on that Monday night game. And I'm down by less than a point in the final. And they're not going to make that game up. So that's now a conversation. He thinks he won it. He thinks it's over. I say, because there's no way he would be crowning me that quickly if he was down by a point. So, let's be honest. So, dude, the Bills and Bengals, such a fantasy relevant matchup that I imagine 90% of championships are kind of left. What do you do? It's such a weird thing. It's a 4-month season. So it's all this work, everything.
So you did, it's acrobatic. Yeah. You can't end like this. You can't end like this. You can't just say, hey, this guy, the points are what they are. Technically, I guess Yahoo has called the matchups, but you can't, as a serious league, you can't end a big money league like that. It just can't happen.
That's the thing. My buy-ins are $100 or $200. There are fantasy leagues that are a ton of money.
I'm more than that, and I hate to say it.
But there are psycho leagues that I'm sure you do $1,000 buy-in stuff like that. So let me see what this Lord Puffalot. Let's see what he has to say.
I like this guy's name.
By the too many team owners, that stats from week 18 by the players remaining will count towards 17.
So then, but who's taking? Are you manually scoring this at this point?
I guess you can go back. Yahoo won't do it. I think
doesn't record it, right? That's what I'm saying.
You have to manually edit it.
My other buddy suggested that. I was like, I'm not going through the manual scoring of every player for this championship. That's too much work for me. It's tough. Yeah, he says manually.
Manually.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of work.
But it should only be a couple players.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
For us, it's three. Yeah. It's 3 players involved in our final. I mean, but then you're dealing with some people resting, some people getting pulled after a little bit.
It's not apples to apples.
That's why fantasy finals don't go into that final week of the NFL for a reason. But it should only be a couple players. But anyway, what we decided to do is move it to DraftKings and do a 1 weekend draft your own team, because we actually wound up splitting the pot pretty evenly.
Right.
So it's not really about money, but there has to be a.
You have to crown a champ.
It doesn't feel right. Not just because I'm not in the lead, but it just doesn't feel right. as a
Yeah.
way to resolve it. It's like just have it end
Right.
like that. So I'm sure
We
there's
don't want
fights going on.
asterisks. We don't want
No.
co-champs. Yeah, let's
Asterisks. That's a big word.
asterisks.
So the big news coming out: Giants are playing at
Ooh.
Eagles, right?
Yeah,
Eagles
that's
need
happening.
that number 1 seed. Jalen Hurts is questionable with a shoulder injury.
Mhm.
They have lost their mojo, sliding the last
yeah.
2 games. They've lost both games with Gardner Minshew.
Mhm.
They have completely lost their mode. Their offensive line is now banged up, so they're not the team that they were.
No.
And like we talked earlier on the Revival show Tuesday night, we both wanted to like punch them in the mouth. Like they're a wounded dog. Put them down, right? Like that's kind of how we felt. It appears as though Giants are leaning the other way towards resting some of the starters. We know Leo and Aziz are banged up. They're gonna rest, which I'm fine with. If you're banged up, yes, rest.
Yes,
Don't
we said
force
that.
guys. But if you're healthy, you should go. But it looks like they're leaning. All the beat reporters saying it looks like they're gonna rest. How do you feel about that?
I mean, listen. Here's the thing, I go back to this all the time. When a GM or a coach makes a move, I look at the thought process, and if I can understand what their thought process is, like I understand what they're trying to do. Like this team has 0 depth. We can't lose any starters, or else we're behind the 8 ball, and we don't stand a chance. Even if we could beat the Vikings probably with losing a guy or two. You can't beat the Eagles the following week if you lose a DJ or a Saquon or somebody very good. And this team is so thin at so many spots. It's to the point where we're questioning if Richie James is very important. We're questioning Hodgins. We're questioning Moreau. Like these are the guys that were like, oh, I don't even know if these guys should play in this game because that's how paper thin we are right now. So I understand what they're trying to do. We both agreed personally that get the wounded duck while they're down, man. Send the Eagles into the playoffs, losing 3 straight. Not getting the number 1 seed. If there's any team that needs the bye, it's the Eagles here. So this is your shot to make a mark on them. Knock them down a peg, gain some confidence. And I hate when people are knocking at me for saying this is kind of like 2007. It's not like 2007 in the same scenario. It's what the byproduct would be if we lose a close game or we won this game. The confidence that you get is, like I said, immeasurable going into the Vikings game. If you could go toe-to-toe with the Eagles, doesn't matter how undermanned they are, how whatever, understaffed, undermanned, whatever. I would have went for it, but I understand Dable. He's earned my trust. I understand what you're doing here.
We're talking about the coach of the year here.
Yeah,
we're talking about the coach.
No big deal. No big deal. Like, who am I to second guess him at this point?
Yeah.
I'm
with you, dude.
He's my man. I'm not going to roll with him.
I'm with you. What's up, Kevin? Thanks for stopping by.
Okay.
It was kind of a win-win situation.
Yeah.
And you don't know the right answer until it plays out. So there's anybody who says it's definitively the right thing to do. Because if the Giants started everybody, just went at them with an aggressive game plan, right? And really kicked their ass and like showed all that and nobody got hurt. Like, then yeah, that was the right decision because now you're steamrolling into the playoffs. You're looking at a likely matchup at Minnesota where you're like, we got this. Let's game plan. Let's do our thing. We already went toe-to-toe with them. We can beat them. The other side is you risk if Barkley or Jones goes down, then you're like, well, that was fucking stupid. Yeah. That game was for nothing. So you never know until it already happens.
Or you get smoked. Like you play everybody and you get smoked. Yeah. And then, you're like, why did we do that?
Right. And we gave our preference that the guys play because, and I said this in one of the Twitter spaces no matter if it's football or anything else, you're playing a rival. You almost said revival. You're playing a rival. You want to knock them down, right? Especially a higher seeded team that looks a little wounded. You want to play. And if Dable were to leave it up to his guys, I guarantee they would say play.
Yeah.
So that's probably why he didn't ask them. He probably knows that. So it's kind of a win-win, right? If you rest and hopefully don't lose anybody else depth-wise, because it's not like you can't play any starters. There are still guys that have to play the game. Then you go into Minnesota or whoever we play in the playoffs, and you're like, all right, we got our squad. And you just hope that the momentum from the Colts game carries over because then it'll be 2 weeks away. Half of your guys have played the week before in Philly. But you know what? The other upside is Tyrod Taylor. If he gets a start, you never know what happens in the playoffs, right? Tyrod Taylor, go play a full game, right? Bang all that rust off. Kenny Galladay, go get 15 targets in this game.
Why
You know what I
not?
mean? Go
Why
try
not?
out some guys that have been riding the pine just in case you need them in the playoffs. You never know. You
Mhm.
absolutely never know. So it was kind of a win-win scenario. We gave our preference, but ultimately you're gonna trust Dable because he's made one bad decision all year, and that was let Adoree Jackson return punts.
Right.
Aside from
Right.
that, I
Yeah.
have literally backed pretty much everything he has done.
And let's speak on that Dory Jackson thing. What are your thoughts on him sitting? Because it looks like he's doubtful. I understand why him get to 100%. He is a vet. He's been through this before. It's not like he doesn't know. He's not gonna know what to do when he gets back in there. But going in with over a month of not playing football into playing Justin Jefferson, what are your thoughts there? Are you okay with this, or
if he's healthy and if it was a meaningful game he would have played, then I would like to see him get some snaps
right?
so that he goes into the playoff game thinking I played last week, I get this, because there's conditioning things that you don't do in practice that you're going to do in the game. Like there's cuts that you're going to make. So, and by waiting
We
another
don't have
week,
anybody like JJ in practice either. I'm sorry, we don't.
no, the
We don't
league
have
doesn't
anyone
have
like
anybody like that.
No.
So, I would like to see him go through and play a few snaps and see how he feels, so that he goes into the next game confident, because he's going to have to be responsible for Justin Jefferson. So, welcome back. Go cover go cover this year's best receiver.
Yeah. No doubt. Well, listen, the DJ thing makes sense. The one that made the most sense was Saquon. Do not let this guy get one touch. Get him 1,000% fresh. He's shown that when he is fresh, he's a different player. When he's worn down, it's not worth it. I was still of the mind that you play him for a half. I like that. You play him for a half, and then you just start taking guys out based on how the game's going. I feel like that would have been the nice middle ground there. But I understand that then players don't know if they're playing, how long they're playing for. It gets into a sticky situation.
Yeah. So if we beat Philly and Dallas wins, then Dallas wins the division.
Number one seed too. They got the number one seed. Yeah, which. But here's the thing: I would have liked to send, because I think Philly's the better team. Yeah. Philly then has to go to Tampa first, no bye, then go through the tougher road. Now we are going to have to play the Eagles if we win round 2. We wouldn't have to play. Now we have to play Dallas in this other scenario where we beat the Eagles, and you get rid of the team in that scenario. I'd rather have not played the Eagles again for.
I don't know who would you rather play, Philly or Dallas?
Dallas, because
I feel like we don't match up with them. I feel like Zeke just fucking runs over us every fucking time. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, I'm still going to take the lesser talented team. Either way, probably either one of those teams is going to have to beat us a third time in that scenario. What I'm saying? It's tough to beat a team 3 times in a season. So that you got that going for you. The mental thing of hey, now we know everything that they have on their plate. We know each other. Beating a team 3 times, and especially a division team, is tough, bro. It's tough. So, I don't know, man. There were so many pros and cons to each side. I at that point, I didn't even care what happens.
Yeah, they might need a 49ers loss. Maybe 49ers might be in that.
Yes, I think that's actually true. If the 49ers win, they automatically lock up that. Wait a minute. They only get the number 1 seed. If the 49ers lose, hold on. Let's run the playoff machine. How about that? Because I've been messing with this thing the whole time.
So all season long, as Philly and Dallas have been playing well, I've consistently said if one of those 2 teams is going to go the distance, I'd rather it be Philly, just because they've already won a Super Bowl
Dallas and Philly. Yes,
ago.
I got it.
If it's just between them.
Right.
Now we have to see. Yeah, 49ers are playing Arizona. They're not losing to Arizona.
But Arizona also, I just did it. If the Eagles and San Francisco both win, the Eagles still get the number 1 seed. They're 14-3, as opposed to the 13-4 San Francisco team. So just so we're clear on that.
So Philly really wants to win, but Philly is then if Hurts plays the full game and is healthy and that's
the question. Is he playing the full game?
Right.
And is he going to play it the same way that he usually does? Because he's got the sprained shoulder. If you're a smart coach, you're not running this guy like you usually do,
which is his
game.
Which is a big part of his game, and it's his throwing shoulder, is it not?
Right. Yeah, I believe so. But either way, you land on that whatever shoulder it is, whatever shoulder if you land on it, that ruins your postseason at that point. So he's not going to play the same game that he typically does. You would think. It's a risk even putting him out there. And if they get up 2 scores, do you take him out at that point, or do you let him in for the whole game? It's going to be a very interesting game to watch.
I think he's pretty banged up because I think they would have brought him back after one loss.
He's not even right.
If he was
not
close.
Even a full participant in any of the practices still. So very questionable.
And this is why you can just take Sirianni right out of the coach of the year conversation because your quarterback goes down and you fucking fell apart. So you have been built on a great roster. A good coach would have maneuvered that. The 49ers are on their 3rd quarterback and they're fucking rolling. So that's what a good coach looks like. They also have a great roster, but they have a good coach. Like what I think it's so clear what Dable has done with this roster. Far and away coach of the year to bring this team to the point of resting in the final week. Not just
what world. The fact that we're having this conversation of sit start again, we're saying this like it's unbelievable. In what world?
In what world is right?
But
it's a miracle.
Yes, yeah. So listen, let's talk about the actual game itself here.
Let's do that.
So, I in my opinion, I kind of like that some of these backups are playing. Again, an injury could happen. Having your depth play in a world where our depth plays well and pushes the Eagles, that gives this team even more confidence, I think, regardless of the starters being in or not.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, what if Tyrod Taylor does do well? What if he pushes them?
We haven't talked about the best case scenario, which is
Jones
and Barkley rest and Tyrod beats the Eagles.
Because
then you would have fucked up Philly, ruined their number 1 seed, where they have no mojo going into the playoffs, and they're on the road now. And now your backups are feeling good. The vibe in the locker room going into Minnesota, like our backups just beat Philly. So like that's the best.
Yes.
Case. Because Jones can still go into Minnesota with a ton of confidence because he never looked as confident as he did in that Colts game. I don't care who he's against. I don't care.
Yeah. There's an argument to be made that leaving him coming off that performance is probably a smart move. Because it's the highest of highs right there. Like if you go in, say you play him in that Eagles game and they get rocked and they're not, they God forbid he gets hurt or just has a bad game. The confidence is now back down to a level, pegs below where it's at right now. You know what I'm saying?
Several pegs.
So there's an argument to be made that sitting him alone, an already injury prone guy. Let's talk about that as well. Him and Barkley have an injury history. So sitting these guys, I get it. It's smart. It's frustrating for us Giants fans. I think what it is if this was someone posed another question too, like if this was the Commanders, would you have been just as pissed? Would you change your strategy?
That's a great point.
Yeah,
because my answer probably would have been rest.
Eagles. Yeah,
it would have been rest because then there's really it's a pride.
There's
thing.
Nothing there. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. And I haven't heard that, and that's a good point. Hold on, we have. So this Lord Pufflot is
I like it.
Is my friend Matt Knight, and I told you I had a poker game on Friday, and he has been to my house a couple times, but like once a year for whatever events. And he came over. My neighbor happened to be having a party the same night, so he knew he was close. Parked his car, walked into my neighbor's house.
Nice.
And they're like an older couple, but there was like a cousin outside who said hi to him, and they introduced each other. So
like, hey, this might be the house.
He just assumed he was there for the poker game, so he just walks in, recognizes no one and nothing, and backs out.
That is so good. So good.
So amazing.
I love it.
It provided laughs for the entire night, just reliving.
Oh
it.
Yeah, that's you'll never live that down. Matt, you'll never live that down. But that's a story right there.
But no, we don't want to do that challenge. We do need a.
No. You know what? We talked about this. We're not going to do an if the Giants win challenge right now because, listen, if the Giants think that this game it doesn't really matter for them, it doesn't really matter for us. We're not going to put an L on our record for no reason, right? Like that's not what we do, Jeff. We have a pretty immaculate record when it comes to ITGW. So we're going to go all in. We're going to use all the brain power and go all in on that playoff game. We're going to come up with something big. I don't know what it is yet, The boys are gonna start brainstorming, and we're gonna have something for you guys, something spicy. I guarantee it. Because playoff wins. Listen, playoff wins are hard to come by. That's what I want. I want to finish my statements here. I lose track sometimes, but
it's okay.
I want to have this other argument with you, because our friend Sal, he brought it up in the spaces. His reason for playing all the starters in there this week is because he thinks that this game could have been a culture-changing win. Like, you go out when it doesn't matter, you start your starters, and if they could win the game, it's a culture changer. I get it, but I was playing devil's advocate to this. Wouldn't it a bigger culture-changing win be the Vikings game, where it's an actual playoff game that, in theory, matters more? You know what I'm saying? I understand what he was saying. Like, go toe-to-toe with the best in the league. You show that you can't be a pushover. You don't let them clinch. I get that. But the playoff win, it's on national TV. Everybody's seeing it. It means more. What are your thoughts on this here? Like,
it does ultimately means more. Like, you have to fast forward to it being May or June and the season's over. Will you be more glad that you beat Minnesota or Philly in the final week? And obviously it's Minnesota, right? We get more Giants football. They are talked about. That is a culture changer. Getting to the second round of the playoffs in year one 100%. Of a rebuild. That's a culture changer.
Yep.
But
agreed.
You're operating from a place of fear when you're like, I don't want to play football because injuries happen, and they do. It's every game. Somebody gets hurt every game. You just never know when it's your time. Which sucks.
Yeah, it's true.
You're just like every year. I wonder what the numbers are, like the average ACL tears on a yearly basis. Like, it happens to every team, 3 or 4 a team. Like, say 100 guys a year tear an ACL.
Yeah, that's fair.
And you lose a year. Your time in the NFL
is
so
going to
limited.
lose all next year too. At this point,
like, it takes a year to recover. Then you're usually not yourself. That final, like, that could be a career ender, and probably is for a lot of guys. So you're just waiting, like, and hoping that you're not the one, because it happened. Like, look how Sterling Shepard did it this year. He was just jogging.
Yeah, he was just barely running around at that point.
So it just happens, and there's no rhyme or reason. It sucks. It's part of the game. So I understand the being cautious this week.
Well, I even said, don't even practice these guys. If you want to play the safety game, like, be completely safe, don't even let these guys practice, because how many guys have we seen lately that have gotten injured in practice? Or fucking driving an ATV that's outside of practice.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the Giants have bad luck.
Right.
With
bubble
injuries.
wrap all of them at this point.
So do you really think you could play all your starters and go into Philly and come out unscathed? That would be
a tough.
That would be bold.
If you play them 100% to the wall, like you want to win, it's going to be a tough matchup that's going to wear you down.
So let me ask you something. If you're Brian Dable, Mike Kafka, like, what kind of game plan are you putting together with Tyrod Taylor? And you don't want to use, like, Slayton and Hodgins and James, but, like, we don't have that many receivers that you can actually put out, right? Like, what kind of game plan? You might run Breida into the ground. Yeah. But again, he is our number 2. Like, you might want him too. Like, that's what I mean. You can't sit everybody. There are guys that have to play.
Listen, even putting Tyrod Taylor, who is a very injury-prone quarterback, is Andrew Thomas playing this game? Is Evan Neal playing in this game?
You're putting him in a tough spot.
Your backup at risk there. So if Daniel Jones goes down that Vikings game, it's game over.
I had that thought. Then who is our third string quarterback?
It's Davis Webb. Davis Webb, right?
Christ. I mean, are we calling
the
Davis
golden
Webb
arm of Davis Webb, man? It's just. I mean, listen, you play this game where, like, yes, we want to play depth, but our depth is, like, we barely have depth right now. We don't have depth on depth for sure anywhere.
Oh, no,
like, if we start losing our depth here, if you have one injury to your starters, it starts to be a slippery slope here.
Actually, good point here by Steven. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, Galladay's got to get all this, like,
at 100% on Galladay, because we've been playing him a couple snaps a game with no target. So there's really no risk there. Brightwell, why not? Because then you preserve 100%. Breida as Saquon's backup. Play Breida a few snaps, but, like, Brightwell has been in the shadows since he was drafted here. Let that guy fucking run loose.
And he actually in a couple of snaps.
He runs hard. He runs downhill. He runs aggressive because he's hungry and he's fresh. So that's a guy that you run into the ground against Philly.
And it's going to be interesting though. Like, is Gates so Feliciano? I think is another guy that might sit because he's been a little banged up.
Yeah.
I actually am excited to see a Gates maybe move to center if that's the plan.
It seems
I would
obvious,
love to see what that looks like.
It seems like everyone, like we have a lot of Giants content creators who are very good at breaking down film, right? Like we are not your X's and O's guys. Right. We have guys that live and die by watching film and breaking down, especially offensive line. It seems unanimous that everyone wants Gates to play center. I don't know if it's Feliciano is, the Buffalo dude or there's something that they like that he does there, but he's not as good as Gates. No. Even Gates back from injury. So like next year and beyond, I would love to see Gates get that spot.
I agree. But yeah, so the answer to your original question, I think it's going to be a very vanilla games game plan because what are you going to do? You're going to throw out all these backups. You can't have this elaborate game plan where you've had a week to prepare and these guys barely played. You can't go crazy with it. Maybe it's a heavy run Tyrod Taylor script and run Brightwell and Breida. But again, what wide receivers are playing, what tight ends are playing. There's so much unknowns, and this is where you get tricky in benching certain people and not benching others. Does Andrew Thomas is arguably the most important guy on this definitely on the offensive line. On the offensive side, he's the third best. A Richie James. If we lose him, we lose our punt returner. You're gonna put a Dory back there? Who's a punt returner at that point? Like, there's so many guys like Xavier McKinney. He looked rusty coming right off the bat.
Yeah,
you want him to get a couple more snaps, right? But he's fucking important to this defense. So
hell yeah,
do you play him? Do you not? It's just so many question marks here, man.
You're glad that
Kayvon.
Yeah, what do you
do with Kayvon?
That's the thing, man. You're at the point of like kind of rolling over for Philly then.
Yeah.
Which is against everything in your core, right?
Yeah.
Is your wife looking forward to this matchup?
I'm doing this. I'm like, yeah, we're sick guys. So enjoy your W, enjoy your first round bye.
His wife is an Eagles fan, by the way.
You're doing your guys got a smooth sailing now to the Super Bowl. We're setting up for you guys. So I'm doing the whole reverse jinx, and I'm playing it real hard on them. Yeah,
that's good because then you win either way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You play like there's no way you're it's the Giants' backups.
You can't lose to our backups, bro.
The Giants starters are backups. So if you lose to the Giants,
you trounced our starters a couple weeks ago. You're gonna 100% trounce our backups. So I'm playing that whole game.
Small world story, real quick.
Yeah,
me and Spiro's wives knew each other before me and Spiro met. And there's like one mutual friend in common that my wife went to college with. His wife used to room with her. Yeah. And somehow, like, our wives were Facebook friends before we even met. They connected like long before. But this Sunday, that one mutual friend that our wives have is hosting me and Spiro and our family. So me and Spiro still get to watch the Giants.
The world's aligned. The world's aligned. Everything just came together. Dude, it's a beautiful thing. And me and Jeff are like, hey, I just heard that the wives are setting us up. I was like, oh yeah, I heard that too.
No, be funny.
No shit.
If we never started this show or met doing like Giants content or any of that, and we were at the same party, do you think? I mean, we'd hit it off, right? I feel like
easily.
If the Giants were brought up in any capacity, we'd be like, did we just become best friends? I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure we'll quickly get to that point.
Well, listen, and we both are pretty good partiers. So I think our partying.
Thank you.
Our party levels just meet each other like this. We became instantly. We became instant friends the first time we were on a podcast.
It's true.
You might have thrown out a movie line. I might have finished it. And
I think that's how it happened. That's how you know somebody's on the same wavelength. Can they get all of your movie references?
Yes, 100%.
Is one. 100%. But we'd be at a party, be like, I'm gonna go hit the baddie. You want to come? You'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go. I'm out. Let's go.
Got him. Nice.
God. All right. So listen, let's talk about something else here. Now, if all the world's, if everything goes according to plan, Eagles are going to get the number 1 seed. We are going to have to play the Vikings again in a rematch in Minnesota. I don't know about you now. I'm starting to feel a little too confident about going into that matchup here.
It's
all Giants fans are like, yeah, we went toe to toe with them already, and we didn't have a Dory, we didn't have Xavier McKinney there, and you basically held them in check offensively. The offense is rolling even better now. You know what they do defensively. In theory, we are very confident about this matchup, no? Like almost too confident now.
I think I assume we're gonna beat them. Like
right.
that's which is insane, but that's exactly where I'm coming from. Just
Dude.
Daniel Jones has never played more confident than he did the last game.
Mm-hmm. And the game before against Minnesota.
Coming off 2 great weeks.
Yep.
So this is a secondary, and they've been getting more and more pass happy, which is great. I love it because it keeps Saquon fresh, and Daniel Jones is delivering. He's protecting the ball. He's playing confident, using his legs, decision making. The guy was fucking killing it. He absolutely killed it last game. It was so beautiful.
El Shefe said it. They couldn't have said it better.
Braveheart. He was Braveheart out there.
Yes.
His arm was electric and his ass was on fire.
Boom.
That was Daniel Jones last game. So that's the dude that needs to show up in Minnesota.
Yes.
And I would like to see the game plan be aggressive, right? Like throwing 100%. On first and second down, because that completely opens their wound right off the bat. Do not run between the tackles on early downs. That is their hand. Don't play into their hand. So be aggressive with that. But I love our chances. We're knock on wood. We are getting healthy at the right time.
Oh, please.
Right? And my words don't affect
No.
What happens on the football field? This is just two people talking.
2 guys talking to other.
The teams that go far in the playoffs are playing their best football later in the year, and they're getting healthy at the right time. And the Giants check both of those boxes as an underdog. So nobody wants to play the Giants right now. You got a wink defense with a very good defensive line, and kind of makeshift everywhere else. But he's scheming.
Our secondary is not that. We're not worried about the secondary, right?
Surprisingly,
Adoree back, Moreau. I'm okay with it. Moreau as a second cornerback. Julian Love and McKinney. I'm cool. Everything outside of the inside linebackers. Yeah. I like our defense a lot. I like it a lot. And inside linebackers, even Landon Collins has changed things now. This defense, man, is going to keep us. And this is why I feel like, I hate to say it, our team has a chance because we can run the fucking ball and we can play defense. It doesn't matter what stadium you go into. Doesn't matter what crowd you go into. If you do those 2 things, you are in every game. And we don't turn the ball over. Our quarterback does not turn the ball over. You say what you want about Daniel Jones. He does not turn the ball over.
Best in the league. Protect
the ball, run the ball, play defense. You got a shot against anybody.
Daniel Jones was a walking turnover.
Yeah,
him to be a best in the league is just incredible. What a turnaround. Richard Judge in the house. How's it going, buddy?
Yo, what's up, Rich? What's going on, my man? And you saw those stats posted up all the time for the last 3-4 years. Daniel Jones since 2019 leads the league in turnovers every year. That stat has magically just disappeared. Nobody brings it up. A lot of
people are catching up now. Dak Prescott. So this is a weird weekend. You can't even do a score prediction for Giants at Philly because there's so many variables. How the hell can you possibly predict what's going to happen in this game?
Dude, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because and now kind of me and Jeff wanted to fucking party. We wanted to party. We're like, oh, Jeff, it's the Eagles Giants. Now we don't even know who we're gonna get. But listen, it still should be a fun weekend. Starting tomorrow, we got Tennessee and the Jaguars, the Titans and the Jaguars playing for the division.
Nice.
So that's a nice little matchup.
That is a playoff game. Winning in
the tragic event. Well, not tragic, almost tragic events of the Buffalo game have thrown the AFC into a fucking topsy-turvy. I don't even know. I honestly, every time I even start reading the tweet about the scenarios here, my mind just explodes. I'm just like, no, I don't want to. There's coin tosses involved. They're mentioning 8 seeds. I think the 8 seeds thing has gone by.
Unprecedented scenarios they have to figure out and work through. It's a good time to be in the NFC. For a few reasons, right? All the elite quarterbacks are in the AFC, right? There's an argument. At least you could maybe say the top 4 without even trying. Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Herbert.
Yep.
Those are usually the top 4 names that come up, all in the AFC.
Yes.
You have an aging Brady and Rodgers who should just
Yeah, and then you got the come up of Hurts, but we don't know what Hurts is yet.
No, they're a good
We
team,
haven't
and
seen
they're
playoff
very
Hurts
good.
yet.
They're very good, but
Yes.
I don't consider him an elite quarterback.
No,
I
agreed.
think he's operating their offense
Not
like
yet.
very high efficiency, and he's very good. And I understand why he was in the MVP conversation.
Mhm.
Not a knock on him. He's took a huge jump this year, and he got way better. So, like, not saying he
Agreed.
sucks by any means, like I did last year.
Also said that.
So,
But yeah, you're right. Keep going.
so no score prediction because what the
No.
hell? They're going to officially announce today at some point, I think, what their plans
Who's
are.
starting, who's not?
Which why even do that? Why give Philly?
He said he's making a decision. I don't know if they're going to announce it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No point.
He's going
in
to figure out what he wants. Right.
No
Just
point in announcing.
let the Eagles game plan for everybody at that point. There's no need to announce. You know, those. I think I saw a tweet. Those players know already what's happening. The players that need to know.
Yeah.
That's the only people that need to know. Nobody else does. What was I gonna say? I got sidetracked here.
So week after this, we don't know when the game is going to be because they have to wait for the official matchups because there's scenarios.
What's your peak moment? What do you want? What does El Jefe want that weekend to look like? Saturday night.
I have tentative plans Saturday night, so I'd actually prefer Sunday. But then that means I'd have to like really pull one over on the wife because be like, I'm going to be out Saturday. I'm going to be out Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't expect too much of me this weekend. So in that respect, it would be good Saturday because I would have to probably change my plans that I had, but at least it's still one night out.
Right.
You know what? The Giants are in the playoffs. It's a good thing no matter what happens. Right.
Those are first world problems right there.
But are we gonna go to our spot for this game?
That's the key here. I
know it's exciting. It's exciting. Welcome back.
I think we're pretty much undefeated at that spot, right? Like we have to go back, but listen, we also are open to suggestions. Anybody out there that if you guys want to meet up at a bar, we want to go hang with the people. We want to be with you guys. So we're open to suggestions. For me, Saturday night, that's the spot because they're not going to put us Saturday daytime.
No.
So it's either Saturday night.
How do you know that?
I think with the Giants are a prime time pull. Like you don't want to put typically you put the worst game as in the afternoon, the better game at nighttime. Either that or Sunday. So wherever it is, whenever it is, I'm open to going out. We need to go out. Me, you, Eli, and hopefully everybody else that's out there. Get us a dub, man. Get us a dub. We're gonna be so jacked up.
Oh my god.
I can't believe this is happening, man. This is actually happening. We're going to the freaking playoffs. None of this the sit start thing is gonna be a thing of the past come Sunday at 8:00, and then it's just full on
playoffs.
Dude, fucking playoffs.
Thank you for joining us on this Freakin Friday. We love this. I don't know. I think you made it up, but I love the Freakin Friday.
Freakin Friday.
Who doesn't love Freakin Fridays? But that is Mr. Glass Half Full who's finishing his can. That is not half full anymore. That can. I would guarantee that.
Empty part.
I am El Jefe. Thank you for hanging out with us. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. But you could catch us on Twitter. We will be talking to you guys during the game. We'll be back live Tuesday night to talk about our playoff matchup. All good things. Giants are on the rise. Have a good weekend, everybody.